Welcome, everyone. My name is Thoric Cederstrom, and I am Vice President for Research and Learning at Food Enterprise Solutions. I'm also the Chief of Party for the Feed the Future Business Drivers for Food Safety project. And I'm going to share with you very quickly today an initiative within that project called mSafeFood, which is a mobile learning platform designed for businesses to get information about food safety. The Business Drivers for Food Safety is is a 5-year cooperative agreement funded by USAID and implemented by Food Enterprise Solutions. It was co-created between us and the USAID Bureau for Resilience, Environment, and Food Security. The main objectives of this initiative is to develop, field test, and validate different approaches that will accelerate the uptake of food safety practices and technologies among food SMEs that are working along supply chains that primarily serve national local markets. We began our activities in June of 2019, and we're currently implementing in Ethiopia, Nepal, and Senegal. Particularly mSafeFood started in Senegal during the COVID-19 pandemic, when in-person trainings and activities were limited or just totally forbidden. And we wanted to find a way to reach the constituents, to reach the food businesses that were our population of concern. To this end, we contracted and partnered with Viamo, which is a global communications technology company, and they have expertise in designing and building mobile learning platforms with different technical content. mSafeFood is designed to reach food business owners and operators, frontline food handlers, and consumers with timely information about food safety through digital messaging and recorded content. We developed key food safety messages to be distributed using interactive voice response technology. So G3 technology, very accessible to low-income business owners, that were made available through basic telephones as well as smartphones. We had different delivery technologies. We had 3 components of mSafeFood. One is the Green Line Information Hotline. We had the Waji game, which is in local language. It's an interactive game-based learning. And then we had more formal learning activities, which included pre and post knowledge evaluations. These 3 components were offered at no cost to the participants, those that registered and signed up. And the content was available in 3 French, as well as 3 national languages, Wolof, Pulaar, and Serer. The first component, Green Line Information Hotline, we had over 3,000 accessed. We had over 2,500 unique individuals called the information line more than once. We distributed nearly 30,000 key food safety messages. And in terms of thematic interest, you can see it in the graphic there. Personal hygiene and clothing was the top scoring topic of interest. Food preservation was second, as well as biological and chemical contamination. Over 90% of the participants reported that information was useful to them. And we also conducted a knowledge retention survey about 1 year after the intervention, and 87% of the respondents answered correctly to the key food safety messages that had been distributed. The Waji game, component number 2, we had almost 1,400 people the game being accessed, and over 1,000 unique individuals accessing it. Almost 4,400 key messages were heard through the game. And playing the game from the entrepreneurial role was the most popular, being the owner of the business. These were simulations about what would happen if you did X and if you did Y. How would that result in food safety outcomes? Another contingent preferred the seller role, and then the consumer role was in the third place. So the impact was 60% of the participants completed the game all the way through, and there was a strong propensity to finish the game path if the participant chose the role of the entrepreneur. So if you were the business owner in the game, completion rate was about five points higher. Then the third component, learning activity structured lessons. There was a strong interest among the more formalized businesses in understanding in Senegal the food safety regulations and standard. These are businesses that wanted to become more compliant with the existing food safety regulations. So we had 517 participants completed this activity, and they registered a 6.5% increase in their knowledge base about the rules and regulations regarding food safety. The second learning activity was structured around prerequisite programs. These are the food safety protocols that are recommended for food processing, food handling. And we had almost 900 participants participate in that. And the result was a 7% increase in their knowledge around food safety handling practices. As we move forward, currently mSafeFood is free to all participants. It's underwritten by USAID, and costs are covered by the project. However, moving forward, we're looking to design an mSafeFood 2.0 that will be self-financed through subscriber fees, company membership, and in-space advertising for more advanced food businesses that would underwrite the cost of mSafeFood. So we also will update and expand the content and make it more relevant to additional food actors. To learn more about us, please see our different technical learning notes at this link, which I think will be distributed to you. You can also visit our website as well as our activity page on AgriLinks. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Thoric. Right on time. All right, I am checking the chat. I do not see any questions. I'll give it just a little bit longer. Does anybody have any questions for Thoric? I see one comment, love the inclusion of local languages. It's a kind of a key theme I'm hearing at this event, that is truly vital. I don't see any questions.
Maybe I can just make a real comment.
I didn't understand what I didn't understand what mSafe does again. Is it just learning?
Yes, it's information dissemination to small, medium-sized food enterprises. And to the other comment, a lot of our constituencies are rather informal businesses, women-owned and operated, which in Senegal, a lot of these women business entrepreneurs are non-literate, or their literacy rate is limited, and so a lot of the information is verbally based and in local language too, since a lot of them are not completely competent in the French language. So we want to localize information as much as possible in the different national languages.
Perfect. Well, thank you very much. If we have more time at the end, we'll ask some more questions. Samuel, you are up.
Okay, I can go on.
Yep, go ahead and make sure you screen share. Thank you.
Do you see my screen, and do you hear me well, Courtney?
I do. It looks great. Sounds great. Go right ahead.
That's perfect. So today, we welcome, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you very much for allowing me to borrow some minutes of your time. Today, I will present to you RohyFambolena, or a data social network platform like is supporting Madagascar a strategy through data insight. So I'm Samuel Adrianjafy. I'm coming from Madagascar, but I'm in Nigeria right now. I'm working as a extensionist specialist and digitalization agriculture specialist also. I'm a project manager at the Farming and Technology for Africa. So just a summary of my presentation, the history of this platform, what is it really, and the perspective, or future perspective. So the story began in 2021 when the AFAS, or the Africa Forum for Agricultural Advisory Services, organized in each of its country fora an hackathon to develop, an open source solution with the ambition that we can create a powerful tools that will help the agent, extension agent, and also all the AES actors. Madagascar participated in this competition, and one of Madagascar champions became continental champions in 2022. This very young team, TNRU Limited, they won the first prize. So AFAS provided some technical and financial support. So more functionalities were developed, like new statistical functionalities, mapping, and messaging. The result of this first partnership is R2E to F, or research to extension to farmers. This is an open source solution that is available across Africa, and especially in the country members of AFAS. Let's go back to Madagascar. In 2023, with the creation of the Department of Extension within the Ministry of Agriculture and Livestock, it gives a new dynamism. So FTA, at FTA, we propose that we propose the partnership with the ministry on how to use this platform at national level. We tailored it to be more, let's say, more specific to Madagascar, and we rename it RohyFambolena. So R2E to F become RohyFambolena, or to translate it literally, linking the world of agriculture. This name reflects your vision of creating a networking space for players, for agricultural players in Madagascar. So what is RohyFambolena? RohyFambolena is, as I said, an open source social network that aims first to bridge the gap between a researcher, extensionist, and farmers. Secondly, it facilitates the identification, the research, and the networking between these various AES actors. To be concrete, I can just by searching on the platform, who is the, let's say, the extension agent near to my geographical position, and is specializing in rice crops, by example. But the real true value of this platform is the fact that it generates a real-time geostatistic of these various actors. So we can check in this platform geographical information, crops, competencies, and so on. To be specific again, to be concrete again, like I'm sure, like the graph there. When I selected the region of Analamag, where Tananarivo is, we can see that there are 7 researchers 39 extensionists and 4 farmers subscribed into this platform. And you can go deeper till the comments level. And what are the perspectives of FTA right now, and also of the Ministry of Agriculture and the Livestock? First of all, we are going to promote and deliver training session on the use of the application in each region of Madagascar, and primarily targeting researchers and extension workers. By doing that, we will use the data generated to refine the upcoming AEA strategy of Madagascar to make it first more effective, relevant, and inclusive as the theme of this 2023 ACT4RAG. As I said, developing this platform requires a lot of partnership. So these are the stakeholders of this incredible journey: the Ministry of Agriculture and Livestock, of course, the AFAS, the FCA, which is the country forum of AFAS in Madagascar. We at FTA and the TNRU Limited team, we support the ministry in the digitalization and customization of the platform, and finally the European Union through FIFAD, which is supporting the CADEP XP4 program. So this was my short presentation. Misocha Tupku is for saying thank you in Madagascar. Misocha Tupku for your attention. Misocha Tupku for your upcoming question. If you want to contact us, don't hesitate. Contact us on WhatsApp, on Facebook, on our email. Don't forget also to test RohyFambolena. This is the link, RohyFambolena.mj, so you can use just that link. You can use also this QR code to get to access this platform. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Samuel. We do have one question in the chat for you. So is everything in Malagasy or just in French? Do your farmers listen to extension people or only other farmers?
Okay, thank you very much. So is everything it's a multilingual platform. Today we have French, Malagasy, and also English. Do your farmers to extension people or only other farmers? Yeah, in Madagascar, you know, we are lacking of extensionist workers, so we are promoting this what we call CBA, a community-based advisor. So we are giving a lot of capacity building to leader farmers, so they are able also to do this extension advisory works in the rural area. Thank you very much for your question. Thank you very much for your attention. You can ask more questions by contacting us.
Thank you so much. All right, we'll move on to the third and final presentation with Nathaniel. Nathaniel, over to you.
Hi, everybody. Can you hear me?
We can.
Fantastic. All right, let me share. Oh, would you mind enabling screen sharing for me?
I would love to. There you go.
Okay. Okay, here we go. Okay, can everybody see this?
Looks great.
Fantastic. Okay, thank you to the previous presenters. My name is Nathaniel Ferguson. I'm a research analyst at IFPRI. I'm presenting from DC today. And on behalf of my co-authors on this policy brief, Greg Seymour and Carlo Azzari, who are also with me at IFPRI, I'd like to present on the gender digital divide in rural Kenya. So as a background, obviously cell phone use has boomed in recent years in rural areas in lower and middle income countries. However, digital innovations have had limited success in transforming agricultural systems, partly due to the fact that in these settings, in these rural areas, women are far less likely to own or have access to cell phones. So it limits the transformative potential of these innovations. To shed more light on this, we interviewed men and women in 1,000 rural households in rural Kenya last year, and we had three main research questions. First of all, does agricultural productivity differ by the gender of the parcel manager? In other words, is there a gender productivity gap in this setting? Secondly, we wanted to see if mobile device usage differs according to gender. Do men and women do they own phones at different rates? Do they use phones in different ways at different rates? And finally, is agricultural production, and are these production outcomes affected by the ownership of mobile devices? We wanted to put all of these together into a fourth research question, which would essentially say, do sex-based differences in mobile device usage help to explain the gender productivity gap? However, as will be clear from the next slide, we weren't really able to answer that question because our results on this so-called gender productivity gap were actually quite mixed in this setting. We divided the plots into three gender-based categories. We have plots that are managed only by women, plots that are managed only by men, and then plots that are managed jointly. And as you can see, the women-only plots actually outperform the men-only owned plots in three of the outcomes. We have four outcomes related to maize, which is the main staple crop in Kenya, and then we have two that are just all crops combined. And crucially, there are no significant differences between any two of these gender groups for any of the outcomes. So it's not really the outcome we expected from the literature and other data on the topic, but yeah, in this context, we're not seeing too strong of a gender productivity gap. So looking at the next question, which deals with phone ownership and phone usage, we divided our phones into basic phones, which is a typical kind of flip phone, something that can't access the internet, and then smartphones. So with basic phones, we actually see that there's no significant difference between men and women's likelihood of owning this kind of phone. However, when you look at smartphones, men are significantly and quite substantially more likely to own a smartphone, and this drives differences in owning any phone, which men are far more likely to own a phone than women. You see 84% and 76%. So this becomes really important when you look at the usages. So now we're looking at uses. Different services, different applications that you would use a cell phone for. We're looking at the full sample. So this is including men and women who may not own phones. So obviously, a lot of the differences that you see here, all of which are significant, men are more likely to engage in any of these applications than women. Obviously, a lot of this is driven by what we looked at in the previous slide, which is that simply men are more likely to own phones than women. But how much of these differences does that explain? Well, it turns out when you control for ownership of a smartphone, that is to say, if we're just looking at the proportion of the sample that owns cell phones, these differences go away. They're no longer significant. So essentially, what that means is that when men and women own phones, there's no difference in how they use them, or at least not a significant difference. But because of the gap in smartphone ownership, men call, text, and use the internet significantly more than women. So this is incredibly important. So finally, looking at the effect of smartphone ownership on crop production, we divided the plots into plots where a manager owns a smartphone and ones where no managers own a smartphone. And we see that the smartphone plots outperform the non-smartphone plots in 4 of the outcomes. The bottom 4 here, and the magnitude is quite strong. However, only the bottom bars show significant difference, which is the value of all crops. So again, sort of mixed results. You know, we're seeing maybe some advantage to the plots with a smartphone, but nothing terribly significant. And this is without controlling for any plot or household level characteristics. But if we are to control for those characteristics, and we look at a coefficient plot, just for example, we're looking at the production quantity of maize. And we have a selection of the characteristics that are controlled for on this coefficient plot, but just know that there's quite a few more actually involved in the OLS regression. But the top 3 variables here are sort of our central variables, right? The ownership of a basic phone, ownership of a smartphone, and all plot decision makers being women. So ownership of any kind of phone has a positive relationship, though it's not significant with the production outcome. And all the plot decision makers are women has, again, an insignificant negative relationship. So sort of, you know, maybe the relationships you would expect, but nothing significant. So in conclusion, we didn't find evidence of a relationship between smartphone use and agricultural production, and therefore we weren't able to use this relationship to qualify the gender productivity gap. However, it doesn't invalidate the transformative potential of digital interventions. One of the most important things I think to take out of this is that men and women do not have equal access to the internet in rural settings. So some of these digital innovations, you know, a lot of them might take place over the internet. You know, different types of extension programs and things like that. There's a lot of agricultural apps that are sort of in a nascent phase right now. So I think the important takeaway is that policies and programs should explicitly promote women's access to smartphones specifically, not just any kind of phone, as a means of closing the gender gap in internet access. So yeah, thank you.
Thank you. We have a couple comments in the chat, not necessarily questions, but I'll read them back to you so that if you want to make comments, you can. So Blessings says, language is important in Kenya for reaching women. Also, much of digital has been just pushing product in Kenya. We need to encourage farmer-to-farmer communication. And then please remember profitability is important, not yield. So
Yes,
no
100%.
Yeah, go ahead. Respond.
Well, I mean, like this is really good insight. Thank you, Blessings. Yes, language is important. Yeah, with regards to profitability and yield, we looked at a number of, you know, we wanted to look at a range of outcomes, but we even looked at more outcomes that aren't included. We looked at a lot of other different crops, and we weren't really seeing significant differences with anything. We even looked at kind of net value when you take out some of the fixed and variable costs involved. So we didn't see a lot of we didn't see a lot of significance. That being said, you know, it could be argued that our survey is a little bit underpowered to reveal some of these significant differences. So I would be curious to see what a larger survey would reveal.